Hi everyone, I'm your friend and I'm here to share what I have learned in my life, in my career, because I strongly believe that knowledge is something which grows when it's shared. So, this Angular series is designed for both beginners and experienced developers with a strong interview focus, covering all the important and in depth concepts you need to know. So I'll start with this video, which is the introductory video for Angular, some basics which you should know before diving into it. Okay. So first of all, the question is Angular. Why Angular is used, where it is used, for what we are using Angular. So we are using Angular for building single page applications. Now, what is single page applications? So single page applications are those applications which itself loads the content and when needed, it dynamically updates it without refreshing the page. Now, Angular, we know why Angular, it's like where Angular is used, we all know. Now, what is Angular? So Angular is a TypeScript based open source front end framework developed by Google. TypeScript based from Angular 2 version onwards. Okay. First version was Angular JS that used JavaScript. Now, Angular is component based. Basic building block of Angular is components. Basically, components itself encapsulates the whole logic, data, and your UI and creates a self-contained block. Okay, so your whole Angular application uses different components. Okay, so component. What is component? Component is combination of UI, which you can say HTML, template or view, where the HTML code has been written. Then your class. Class is your .ts file, that is TypeScript file, which contains your main logic and your metadata. Now, what is metadata? Metadata is some unique information or some additional information we are adding in our class so that we can identify it. And we add metadata with the help of decorators. And this is a decorator. This at the rate component part is a decorator. So decorators are functions used to add metadata to a class, methods, arguments, and these are prefixed with the at the rate symbol. Now this decorator returns object. Okay, this is the object we can see from here that starts with this parenthesis and curly brackets. So these are objects. Now there are many different decorators we have. So in this at the rate component decorator, this comes from Angular code library and this has a selector. This selector has unique names. Okay, and these unique names tell Angular to where search for some specific element. So this is very helpful if you want to render your uh, different components, logic, class to a different component. Suppose I have one component and this component I'm already making it visible in some web application, and apart from that I also want to display some other components data also. Okay, so earlier this component, then I want this component, earlier this, and now I want this. So for this, what I will do in the HTML code of my previous component, I will add just selector name of any component which I want to render. Okay, so component also has styles. Styles is basically CSS files which is used to provide styling to that particular component. Now main building blocks. What are the main building blocks of Angular? So these are components, modules, services, routing, dependency injection. Now components, I already explained you that this is basically the combination of UI logic and metadata. Basically, it is encapsulating your data logic and your HTML template. This component enables you to make your application reusable and scalable, because one component can be used in the same application or in other application, any other pieces where it is needed. Like this is one whole big application assume. So here I have used this component, but now here also I need to use that particular component. So I can use over here again. Okay. Now modules. Modules is basically your containers. Okay. They containers for related uh, items. Okay, you can say that. Basically, it is feature grouping. It is grouping the related components together. Modules are very important because these modules only tell Angular that what is needed to be compiled. Like this is the component which I want to compile. Okay, this component should be available when it's needed for rendering. You have to compile this component, you have to register this component with Angular framework. So modules are important, but modules are only important till Angular 14 wasn't there, okay? Because Angular 14 onwards, we have standalone applications, which enables the components to register themselves only and being compiled whenever they are needed, okay? So we'll move towards services. I will create separate videos for explaining the individual things in more detail. Now, services. Services are basically shared functionality, like something I want to be used within all the components or more than two components. But I don't want to create the same class again and again for individual components. So I have decided that I will create one service, and then in my different components, I will use the same services. So basically created once, but shared among all. This is also the concept of singleton. Okay, singleton. I hope you understand, or I'll just tell you, it is singleton. Okay, just pardon my writing. So yeah, it's singleton, which I just told you. Okay. So shared functionality. After that, services. Yeah. Now, how will you know that what is, matlab, which component is there and which service is there? So components, you can clarify this with this iterate component decorator. And for services, we have at the rate injectable decorator. Okay. Now, once you have created services, to all the components wherever they are needed, you have to inject in their constructors. This is also known as dependency injection. Okay. So basically, for services and dependencies management, dependency injection is there. Routing is for navigation. From one component to another component you want to go, that then you need to use routes. Okay. So for better understanding, if you are newbie and you are confused, you can imagine that Angular is a house. Okay. This is a house which has different floors and many rooms, one, two, three, four, five, right? And there are doors and hallways from where you can navigate. So now every room, if you see, has a different layout and function. Okay, so like this is a washroom and this is a kitchen. So all have a different functionality. Similarly, in our Angular code, these type of rooms, we are relating it as components. Basically, we are defining it, or we can say that we are it is similar to that. We are just comparing and we are just trying to understand the metaphor. Okay, like this. Okay. Now, floors. Floors are something which is grouping some rooms together, right? That first floor has three rooms, ground floor has two rooms. So that two rooms are together because there are some common functionality or there is some common thing, related thing from which we can say that these two are related. So these are my modules. Okay. Now utilities. In my every room, I can see that electricity, water is common and these are reusable, they are shared. So something which is shared and which is only created once and shared by everything are services. Now I want to go from this room to this room. So how can I go? There is a door. So these doors and hallways are my routers. Now, question is how Angular code projects look like. Okay, so this is the structure of my Angular code. Now, like in C++ code, I wonder that whenever I write the code, the first thing to be executed is this main, either in C++ or Java. So in Angular, which file is the first to be executed among these too many files? So yeah, the answer is main.ts. This main.ts file, okay, this main.ts file is the first file which gets executed when your Angular code is executed. This main.ts file bootstraps your app module. Okay, so these app modules contain all the declarations of the components which are there in the application, with some imports of and services and uh, important dependencies which all have been used in the application or will be in need in future. The first HTML page which will be loaded when your application starts is this index.html. Okay. Further, I will explain in next video the whole structure. So now whatever we have understood is only in short is that we have created a component which can be exported. See here at that component, and class is what? Export type. Export means that it can be used anywhere in the code. Okay, I can use this in any different component. Okay, so I have exported my class, but when I need to use that component in my other component, I need to import that component in my component where I want to use. So component A has been exported. Every component you will use export, and wherever you want to use, you have to import and register that component in modules. Now we know that browsers can run JavaScript. If they can run JavaScript, can they understand TypeScript language? No. Simple answer is no. They neither can they understand TypeScript nor Angular's HTML templates directly because they are not static. They have some bindings there. So how will they create their DOM structure and update that DOM structure? For that, Angular needs to compile this HTML and this TypeScript into JavaScript, the only language which a browser understands. So your final application is pure JavaScript, but at runtime, all TypeScript is gone. Before that, TypeScript code is there, which helps you in debugging, which is strong typing. So it has many features. That's why it is used. But at the time of runtime, it is gone, and only JavaScript code is left with the application, and that is also because of the Angular compilation. So Angular's HTML templates also need to be compiled into JavaScript code that can create and manipulate DOM elements efficiently. Okay, I hope I was able to make you understand and clear your concepts. Now we'll meet in some other videos continuing this Angular series. So if you find value in what I share, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow and keeps the learning going. Thank you. Have a wonderful career ahead.